Have you ever been told you're too sensitive, like that was something you needed to fix? What if I told you that the very thing you've been trying to tone down is actually your strength? Hey, friend, welcome back to the Jennuine Life. I'm your host, Jennifer Nicole, and this podcast is a safe space for those who feel deeply, think deeply, and are learning how to honor themselves in a world that rewards numbness and hustle. If you've ever been told that you were too emotional or too sensitive or even too much, especially as a woman, this episode is for you. Today, we're talking about being an empath and why it's not a weakness, but a gift. And I'll be sharing 3 actionable ways you can use being an empath as a superpower. So, let's talk. Hey, beautiful souls. Happy Sunday. I hope you're doing well. Before we jump in, I just had to say thank you for the love on last week's episode. Truly warmed my heart. Okay? Putting yourself out there is never easy, and your encouragement really felt like a warm hug. Your messages, your DMs, every share and repost truly meant the world to me. So I just had to take a second to tell you thank you. And I also realized after listening to the episode that I never checked in with y'all. Y'all know I don't miss an opportunity to ask you how you're doing. So I'm going to ask now, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope life is treating you well. And I hope that you're taking care of yourself and giving yourself and others some grace. And wanted to spend a very special second wishing all of you a happy Super Bowl Sunday if you celebrate. It's going to be a pretty good game. I think these two teams are going to play really hard and give us a good game. And of course, we have Bad Bunny performing for the halftime performance. So I think it's going to be a pretty electrifying Super Bowl. So if you celebrate and watch, may you have a great day. And if either one of your teams are playing today, good luck to you. Glad it's not me. Anyway, let's jump into today's topic. I really wanted to chat a little bit about this as a certified empath myself. I've actually had this topic on my mind for a little while now, and finally was able to put an episode together to where I felt like it was a good one. And I want to chat with you about it today because so many times I think being called an empath is sometimes seen as a burden, or maybe that like there's something about you that you need to fix. And today I'm hoping to reframe that all together for you in this episode. Without further ado, grab a snack and a beverage and let's get into today's conversation. So before we dive in, I think it's important to define what empathy actually is and isn't. Empathy is often misunderstood. According to the dictionary, empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. But it's important to know what empathy is not. It's not sympathy. Sympathy feels for someone, while empathy feels with them. It's not agreement. You can empathize without agreeing. And it's not just a feeling. True empathy often comes with the urge to act, help, or even respond compassionately. Empaths experience the world differently, feeling deeply, sensing shifts in energy, and connecting with others in ways that most people can't. So you might be thinking, okay, so how does empathy show up in real life? For many empaths, you feel emotions deeply, even when they're not yours. You're highly intuitive and notice subtle cues that others miss. People open up to you easily because you create a safe space. And boundaries can be tricky, and without intentional rest, you feel drained. Sound familiar? I know it does for me. So why does empathy get mislabeled as a weakness? Well, we live in a world that values toughness, detachment, and emotional distance. So when you're feeling deeply, people may assume you're fragile or too much. But feeling deeply doesn't mean failing. It means that you're tuned in. And many empaths grow up learning that their feelings are inconvenient. You start believing that you're too emotional, that you need thicker skin, or you build walls so high that you stop feeling altogether. And instead of teaching empaths how to protect their energy, we taught them how to shrink. And that is where burnout starts. Now, I want to take a second and reframe this for you. There are 5 traits that empaths often carry that are labeled as burdens. They're things that people say make us too much or too sensitive or too emotional. But when you look closer, these aren't burdens at all. They're actually strengths. And for each one, because I love you dearly, I'm going to share an affirmation that you can hold on to as a reminder of these truths. First, let's talk about awareness. When you walk into a room and immediately feel the emotional temperature, that is not you overthinking. That's emotional intelligence. It allows you to move with discernment, to respond instead of react, and to navigate relationships with intention. This awareness helps you to avoid unnecessary conflict and recognize what needs care before it breaks. So, my affirmation for this trait is my awareness is a gift. I trust what I sense and move with wisdom. Another trait often misunderstood is just how easily people open up to empaths. That happens because your presence communicates safety. You listen without trying to fix, judge, or rush the moment. And that ability to hold space builds trust. It strengthens relationships and creates real connection in a world that often stays surface level. My affirmation for this is my presence creates safety, and I honor it without carrying what isn't mine. Now let's talk about absorbing emotions, because this is one that really gets misunderstood. Empaths don't just understand pain, we recognize it. We feel it in our bodies, in our moods, in our energy, and that deep compassion allows us to show up in ways that feel genuinely supportive and healing. But it also means we have to be intentional about what we take in, what we watch, what we listen to, what we read. It all matters. Because when you're an empath, you don't just consume information, you absorb that emotional weight. And if you're not careful, the world can start to feel incredibly heavy. And this doesn't mean being uninformed or disconnected. It means simply being aware. It means knowing when to step back, when to mute the noise, and when to protect your peace so your compassion doesn't turn into overwhelm. The strength here is discernment, learning that you can care deeply about the world without carrying all of its pain. My affirmation for you is I can care deeply without losing myself. Many empaths are also natural givers. You love fully, you show up consistently, and pour into others because your heart is expansive. And that generosity is powerful when it's intentional. When you choose where your energy goes, your giving becomes sustainable instead of draining. I want you to affirm that my giving is powerful and I choose it with intention. And finally, let's talk about the need for alone time. This is extremely important. I know it is for me. For empaths, solitude isn't isolation, it's restoration. It's how you regulate your nervous system, reconnect with yourself, and return grounded instead of depleted. So I want you to affirm rest is not a weakness. It is how I restore my power. These traits aren't things to fix or to shrink. They are strengths to understand, protect, and honor. Protecting your energy without hardening your heart. Here's the part that no one tells empaths. You don't have to lose your softness to survive. You can be compassionate and selective. You can care deeply and step back. You can be soft and strong. Your job isn't to save everyone. Your job is to stay connected to yourself. So, what are some actionable ways that you can use your empathy as a superpower? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can start to leverage your empathy as a superpower. First is practice boundaries without guilt. No explanations. Now, what does this look like in real life? As an empath, you often over explain because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But boundaries aren't about convincing others, they're about honoring yourself. And you do this by starting to respond with short, neutral answers instead of emotional justifications. Start using phrases like, that doesn't work for me right now, or I'm not available for that, or I need to pass this time. Start to notice when guilt shows up and don't act on it. Guilt is just discomfort, not a directive. And this is going to start to strengthen you because when you stop over explaining, you conserve emotional energy. That energy is your superpower and it belongs to you first. The second way that you can use your empathy as a superpower is to start to choose discernment over people pleasing. Now, in real life, empaths feel others' emotions so deeply that they often say yes just to keep the peace, even when it costs them. Discernment means asking, is this mine to carry? Is this aligned? Does this feel safe in my body? And you can start doing this by thinking before saying yes. Pause and check in with your body and not your thoughts. If your chest tightens or if your stomach drops or if you feel immediate fatigue, that's information that you can use. Give yourself permission to delay responses, such as, let me think about that and I'll get back to you. Or say yes only when it feels calm and not pressured. And this will begin to strengthen you because discernment helps you engage from choice and not obligation. And you stop leaking energy into places that don't replenish you. And lastly, I want you to start to prioritize rest without explanation and choose peace over access. What this looks like in real life, empaths absorb so much conversations, moods, environments that rest isn't optional, it's essential. Rest doesn't need to be earned, and access to you is not unlimited. Start to schedule white space into your week with no purpose attached. Turn off notifications without announcing it. Let people be disappointed. It's not your job to manage their feelings. Ask yourself regularly, does this bring me peace or does it drain me? And when you start to do this, it'll strengthen you when you choose peace over access. You protect your nervous system, and a regulated empath is a powerful one. So being an empath doesn't mean you're here to absorb everything. It means you're here to feel deeply, choose wisely, and protect your energy. If you made it this far, thank you. And if this episode spoke to you, make sure to subscribe to the Jennuine Life on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. Continue to share it with friends or a fellow empath who needs this reminder. And come hang out on YouTube. Share the Jennuine Life for cozy vlogs, conversations, and real life moments where we get a little softer together. And I'd love for you to take one action today. Pick one affirmation or boundary practice from this episode and put it into motion. Even small steps matter. Your superpower grows as you protect it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for feeling deeply. And thank you for sharing your gift in the world. You are so needed. You are a light in darkness. And if no one tells you, you are appreciated. I'll see you in the next episode.